What it is like to remember past lives. Hello again. Thank you for being here with me once more. I hope you are very well today. I am Marie. Hello, welcome to my channel. This information can be seen as science fiction, or as the viewer sees best, and I post it for entertainment purposes only. Still, I take my information very seriously, and for whoever has eyes to see. As we start this subject, the first assumption we are facing is reincarnation, which is a complicated topic in itself, as each person or each expert will share his or her perspective on it and belief system, often saying that what others are telling you is wrong, and their perspective is the correct one. But one thing is quite certain, reincarnation does indeed exist or happen, and there is plenty of proof of its existence, even if most of it is purely anecdotal, except for the person who actually remembers a past life or lives, in which case there is no doubt for that person, although then again, the other people who do not remember end up only taking the value of the word of who does. My perspective on reincarnation is that no one can ever have the same experience, as all of them will always be a direct reflection of who they are and of the vibration they have held during their life, and especially the one they had at the moment of their death. However, this last one may also be controversial, because if a very positive person who has been so for most of his or her life, for one reason or another experiences a violent death, this last event should not define his or her next experience or experiences, yet it does influence what the positive person will experience immediately after death, but not defining everything else that comes next. As I said above, reincarnation is a hard fact for people who do remember past lives, yet it is impossible to prove with earth science, as it has nothing to apply the scientific method to, because there is only circumstantial evidence. On Earth, most people do not remember any past life, and that is a quality that strongly defines what life on Earth is like. We've come to know it as the infamous veil of forgetfulness, which is understood to be caused by a frequency incompatibility between high-vibration astral realms and/or high-vibration past lives on other planets, and the super-low-vibration thick experience of living on Earth. This not remembering past lives quality, which strongly defines what it is like to live on Earth, has been used and abused by the controllers of the planet to exploit and gaslight the population into submission, mostly by using their religions which are based on imposing obedience and order using fear. As people don't usually remember their past lives, the powers that be can reset civilizations to their convenience, as it is very easy to manipulate the population into believing false history, as their minds can only focus on what they have experienced during their present life, as if it were everything that ever existed, or that they have ever experienced. Making things worse, many people can't even remember what they have lived in their present lifetime, dooming them to repeat the same mistakes over and over. This last also goes for entire civilizations on Earth, where they easily forget what recently happened, causing them to fall into more manipulative strategies of the powers that be, who control the planet and its global civilization. The veil of forgetfulness on Earth also forces the population to depend on historical records to remind them of their past, and as nowadays those records are all in a computerized digital format, they are even easier to manipulate, edit and twist at the convenience of the controllers of the planet. Or they can simply be erased, gaslighting the few people who remember into thinking that they remember events wrongly, especially the older generations. This is also why there is something like a war against books, making people believe that the information contained in them is somehow outdated and useless. If this last is true for all the topics in paper books, it is especially true for encyclopedias. For example, the Encyclopedia Britannica, one of the most important ones that have ever existed, because people are led to think that they are useless, outdated, and a burden to use as compared to asking Google for information on any topic. This causes countless people to get rid of, or destroy, their encyclopedias, with this also erasing how things once were, during the time when it was printed. Encyclopedias do not only contain raw information, like the useless names of countries which have been presently assimilated or split into others, but they also reflect the mindset and the values of society when they were printed, and if they are destroyed, all that will be lost, much to the convenience of the powers at be. This facilitating the process of civilization and social resets. All these exploitation and social gaslighting exploiting the population's lack of remembrance simply cannot happen in a civilization, or in a culture where most people actually do remember their past lives, and this is so important that it becomes a game changer for the development of a culture. Therefore, this is one of the biggest differences between how a society and its culture develop outside Earth, where there is always a rush. Everyone is in a hurry to do something with their lives as they are sold the idea that it is the only one they will ever have, thus causing life on Earth to be chaotic and desperate. When in interstellar cultures where people mostly do remember past lives, things are calmer, and individuals are not as desperate to use their time wisely, as they know that their life work and mission can, in any case, continue in their next incarnation, and on the next one as well. On the other hand, civilizations made and developed by people who usually remember their past lives have the tendency to stagnate their social and technological development, as a homeostasis, an equilibrium is easily reached, where individuals have come to develop and acquire all they need, therefore no longer needing to develop newer things. However, I can also mention a few exceptions to what I just said, for example, the ever-motivating creation of all kinds of art, including music. Those people in civilizations that do remember, create an environment that is as perfect as it can possibly get, and then they maintain it as a comfortable status quo, until something else motivates them, or forces them to jump out of their stagnation, out of their comfort zone, and get things done to solve the issue or the incoming problem. This is exactly the case with Taygetan society, which was comfortable with their lifestyle and their level of technology until fairly recently, when the Cabal of Earth set their sights on invading Taygeta, as a foothold for further expansion, as I have mentioned before. This caused the Taygetan people to jump out of their comfort zone, and get their minds and hands into acquiring knowledge and consciousness about what was and is happening, develop defensive strategies, and newer technology which is necessary to face their new challenges and threats. This is exactly the reason why we have seen the development and the advancement in starship technology only in recent years, when as an advanced society, Taygetans would have had all the time in the world to develop it in the past, but they simply did not see the need to develop technology even further, until now that they are feeling threatened. This is yet another case where hardship and problems cause forward momentum, and progress in every way. I just described what remembering past lives does to a society and a culture, at least in general, but now I will move on to what it does to individuals. Each person, each soul remembers past lives differently. That's why gurus on Earth cannot generalize, as they are only reflecting what they have learnt or experienced, and it does not reflect the greater reality, which is far more complex. Some people remember only their immediate past life, or two, while others remember 10 or more, like for example little Sophia Yaji Swaruu as an extreme case, but for a Taygetan, they remember somewhere around 3 to 5 past lives on average. Everybody has had past lives as members of their present species, and of others as well, even those people who think that they do not remember anything at all, because although they may not be consciously remembered, they do influence and even define who the person is during its current lifetime. The past experiences of other lifetimes are the ones which end up defining the person's current values, likes and personality. This is why many children may follow a very different life path than the one of their parents, much to their annoyance, and not only as the result of a purely rebellious attitude towards them. One of the places where past life influence can be clearly seen is with the existence of inexplicable phobias, where the individual dislikes and is afraid of seemingly innocuous objects or situations, and where I would not include fear of heights or snakes, among similar others, because that may well be a species-embedded survival mechanism, and not necessarily the result of having been bitten by one in a past life. People who remember their past lives tend to interpret them in different ways, whereas some individuals like to see their current life as an extension of their past one, continuing with their interests and with their plans simply as if they had changed their old car for a new one, where they are essentially the same person as before, but with a new body avatar and a new look. This is one of the most common ways of facing and interpreting past life memories. For those who have a full recollection, a full memory of who they were, at least during their immediate past one, yet most people only hold partial memories of their past lives, and not enough to extend their same ego into their present lifetime. Moreover, many times it is also quite difficult to remember correctly which isolated memory event belongs to which specific past life, if there is no other reference to help with placing it where it belongs. Other people who hold a clear memory of who they were in their past lives, even when they can remember them very clearly, and even enough to translate their past ego identity from the past one to the present lifetime, often choose to make a new identity for him or herself. They remember everything about their past life or lives, yet they choose to start from scratch again, only using what they have learnt before as a reference for their present one. This is my case, because I remember several past lives, yet I chose to leave all that behind. I chose to learn from them and use what I know as a reference for whom I am now, yet I am a new person, with a new identity and ego self. I am reinventing myself as Marie Swaruu, and that is also why I removed the Swaruu from my name, leaving only the Swaruu at the end. The High Council of Taygeta, in Tema, recognizes that I hold full past life memories, and that is also a very important factor that led them to let a 16-year-old teenager become their queen and leader. Without all my past life memories and a way to corroborate them to the High Council, I would have never been accepted. My full past life memories also let me write all these subjects for this YouTube channel, because full past life memories also bring a big box of things to share, and as many of you have noticed, the topics I talk about do not correspond to the mental maturity and knowledge of an average teenager. Yet, I am also a teenager, my body is, and I have its corresponding and logical, age-related problems, and I also have many teenage interests, I do not deny that. But remembering past lives also has a very dark side to it. There are countless memories that you simply do not want, yet they are there, hurting you, defining who you are, and there is a lot of pain and nostalgia about past events and experiences. You remember the faces of countless people you met in your past, people who are long gone now, perhaps even forgotten in the sand of time, although I know they have also moved on to become someone else. Remembering many past lives, as is my case, I'd rather not say how many as I'm not entirely sure myself, as they have been so numerous, is almost like being immortal because your soul is, but it also means that you still suffer what you have accumulated before, and in my case, I wish I could forget many, many things. I am full of memories that I do not want. This is where I can say that it is also very convenient, not to remember any past lives consciously, as there are also many advantages to it, and not only disadvantages like opening yourself to the possibility of being gaslit and manipulated into thinking and believing things and events that did not occur. Not consciously remembering past lives gives the individual the chance to reinvent his or herself, and not having to carry the guilt and the psychological suffering and hurt that was experienced during the previous one. I know many people envy those who do remember their past lives as if it were some kind of unfair advantage, which is not. I feel that the need or the want to remember them is like seeking some kind of external validation, as if what they have achieved in their current life was not enough. I find it is linked to deep frustration, as well as the need to seek their own true identity, even more for people who are consciously starseeds, and I feel that the deeply rooted need, or wish, to remember past lives can even be linked to a lack of self-esteem, although not necessarily, as mere curiosity may also be a perfectly valid reason. Who you are now, today, is the only thing that matters, and I try to live that myself, building who I am now, and not relying on who I once was. One of the most important things I have learnt about remembering past lives is that when you do so, you enjoy life more, you appreciate being alive more. Therefore, even when you are very sad and depressed, you no longer ruminate about suicide and things like that, as you know it's useless, simply because you are your problems, and therefore at death, you take them with you, so killing yourself only makes things a lot worse, as you now cannot solve the issues that led you to such a drastic decision. This topic will continue as there is a lot more to be said. This will be all for today. As always, thank you for watching my video, and for liking, sharing, and subscribing for more. It helps this channel grow a lot. And I hope to see you here next time. With much love, your friend, Swaruu.